Hey, Momentum Tribe, Spencer here. I wanted to answer one of the questions I get on a regular basis because we talk about the qualified champion, and those are two parts. So I'm not going to talk so much about the qualified versus unqualified because that's a different conversation. However, the question I do want to answer is about, what exactly makes a champion a champion? What's the difference between a champion? And then the converse of that, of course, would be a victim. So what's the difference between the two? And simply put, it comes down to a homonym. Actually, it's a word that sounds the same, actually, but it's spelled differently by one letter. So, effect or effect. A champion understands that they affect the world, meaning they define their circumstances. A champion will take the situation around them and define it for themselves to move themselves forward. Champions are proactive. They don't let things happen to them, and when they do, they define it in a way that moves themselves forward. So champions move forward because they define life. They happen to life. So if you take the word affect with an A, that's a verb. That's a champion. Victims, on the other hand, on the other side of the conversation, happen to be usually a noun, meaning they're the effect with the letter E. Victims are defined by their circumstances. Victims allow life to happen to them, so they feel like they have no control. So that's the primary difference right there between a champion and a victim. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on those two positions. It really has to do with perception. The other piece where we talk about qualified versus unqualified has much more to do with procedure in terms of mechanics and how they do. But that's not for this video today. Just think about that for a second. Am I a champion or am I being a victim? And if we're being a victim, it's because we're allowing life to happen to us, and we are being the effect. We're being a noun, okay? Where if I'm being a champion, I am moving forward. I affect life. I impact my circumstances. I define them. So that's the difference between those two in our qualified champion world. So, all right, I'm going to let it go at this point. Thanks for jumping in, and we'll go from there.